Ubiest, I'm going to answer a few of you guys' questions. Of the Tubiest, the best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus. So I'm going to answer a couple of you guys' questions today. And one in particular is Eric asked. I get this question, quite a bit, and it's a little bit controversial. And so I'll spend the vast of my time talking about that. And this question was a couple of parts, but he says there's a mentor-student, basically a mentoring phase at my prior company, Swifty, if they do team driving, or do they both sleep at the same time, meaning that they don't team drive, and also about home time. So I'll get started with that. That one's going to take me a little bit to kind of break it down. And by the way, I'm not with that company anymore. I'm with Melton. Melton also has a mentoring phase, and I'm not very familiar with it. I guess I should find out. I wasn't really interested in doing any team driving. No, not team driving, but mentoring. For one reason is that I just have too much to learn on flatbed. Okay, I'm not to a point where I feel like I can, teach someone how to be a good flatbedder, because I'm still so green with it. I'm learning so much. I'm asking a bunch of questions to other flatbed drivers just about every time I do a load. Some of it, is extra information. I already know how to secure the load and get going, but I still, I might see somebody doing something and it's different, and I want to know, why or how. It may be a better way. So, I'm just not quite there yet. But with the previous company, I was a mentor, and with them, the mentoring phase for the first 50 hours. First off, the mentoring phase is 200 hours over there. And the first 50 hours, the student and the mentor must be on duty at the same time if the student is driving. Excuse me. Very rude. Excuse me. If the student is driving, the mentor has to be on duty and sitting in the passenger seat. Okay. So, after the first 50 hours, if the student is handling the truck well and the mentor feels like everything's going to be good to go, the mentor and the student can choose. Well, the mentor can choose to team drive. It's not an option for the student. The student does what the mentor says. It's just the bottom line. The only reason why a good mentor would not team drive at that point is that the student isn't prepared for it. The student isn't ready. Okay. Now, it's to popular belief that, and this is just basically shallow thinking people. That's just the bottom line. You can say what you want. But if you only think this far, then you're going to believe that at no point during the student phase that a mentor should ever go to the sleeper. That the mentor should always sit next to the student the entire time. If that is by theory, think about what you're just saying. Think about what you're saying. The student should never, while during the mentoring phase, that student should never be left unattended. And by your logic, all of a sudden, that 200 hours, that 200 hours is up, or 500 hours, or a year of driving with a mentor is up. Now, all of a sudden, give them the keys to their own truck, and now they can mysteriously start driving by themselves safely. But they can't do it with somebody else sitting in the truck with them. You following what I'm saying? This is absolutely true. There is absolutely no sideways about this. But if you follow other people who tend to teach you that, and you get it in your head, and that's the only way that makes sense to you, then just, I'm not going to try to convince anybody else, what's right and wrong. You do whatever you want to do. But I'm just telling you, 2 + 2 = 4. And I don't care in which YouTube channel you follow or whatever that tells you that 2 + 2 is not 4. I can tell you that they're wrong, and they will always be wrong. And it is wrong to believe that a student is incapable of driving a truck during a mentor phase with the mentor is not sitting right next to him. Because by logic, that would mean they would never be able to drive the truck without somebody sitting next to them. At some point, for that person to start driving solo, at some point, then they should be able to drive solo without a mentor sitting there. So does it mean they have to be in a different truck? Maybe the mentor has a Kenworth and they need to be in a Freightliner to drive solo with nobody sitting next to them, or team drive with somebody in the bunk. Maybe that's what it is. I don't understand that. I don't understand the logic that a person will never be ready to team drive as long as they're with a mentor. At some point, that driver has gotten to a point where they can actually drive the truck in a solo manner. Okay? So that's just the bottom line. You can accept it or you don't, then accept that 2 + 2 is not 4. It's maybe 12 or 13 or 2 or something. I don't know. Whatever the logic is illogical in my opinion, but you can have your own, okay? And I go through that long diatribe because, Zarek, I don't want your question. I don't want you to get an answer to your question and then it's not what you're thinking, and then your mind closes up around it, okay? So keep an open mind with it. And during that mentoring phase, it is extremely important that the mentor is able to detach himself from you, and you become a driver solo, so to speak, because he'll be in a bunk or in the back or whatever, okay? And be there for you when you do have a question, okay? You get to a shipper and you have a question, you can say, hey, what do I do? And then they can tutor you along the way, but allow you to perform the job, okay? And once you get done, you should be able to do the job in its entirety, and that would be a good mentor. And another thing I want you to understand too, okay? There is a such thing as a DOT rules, DOT law as far as as it pertains to a sleeper truck and a day cab. And the rule is, if there's 2 people in a truck and both of those people have a CDL license, they are both, because it's a commercial motor vehicle, they are both subject to DOT and DOT rules, okay? If it is a day cab, that means that has no sleeper, both of those drivers have to be on duty, okay? If you are in a sleeper truck and driver A takes off. Driver B, because it is a sleeper truck, does not have to be on duty. He can be off duty or on a sleeper. Let's just say that they're off duty, okay? If that truck, if that driver A is driving or on duty for 2 consecutive hours at 2 hours and half a second, driver B, who is actually off duty or in a sleeper, can no longer sit in a passenger seat. They must go to the sleeper. This is DOT rules. I didn't make it up. I'm telling you what the facts are. And a lot of what you hear about other people saying, mentors this and mentors, they don't know what they're talking about, number one. Okay? Most of them saying that, never even gone through the mentoring phase. All they do is surf YouTube trucker channels and gather information, and they have no basis. They don't understand what the laws are. So a driver cannot sit there after 2 hours of their shift, before and after. So driver A, when they start their shift, 2 hours after they start their shift, their partner has to go to the bunk. In fact, sit there if you want to. Sit there and then approach a DOT station. And you better pray they don't do a check. Because when you pulling up, there's cameras. They can take a picture. You 2 miles away when you pull up, and the DOT thing says state inspection 2 miles, they already took a picture of your truck, the cab of your truck. 1 mile, take another picture. As you walking in, as you coming into the DOT weigh station, they got cameras, of course. Come on. If they check you, and driver B was sitting in the passenger seat, driver A has been driving for 3 hours, and driver B is actually sitting in the passenger seat, and then they got the photos of you sitting there. You say, oh, here I go, I better hurry up and jump in the back. Too late, they already got a picture. You better hope they didn't catch you, because if they catch you, then you just violated your DOT, your clocks. You'll be put out of service because you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm telling you is a fact, because I never got caught with that, because I know the laws, okay? I know what the DOT rules are. But those are some reasons why things can't happen the way people imagine that it happens, okay? Now, throughout the whole 200 hours, can a mentor sit next to the student? As long as they're on duty, it doesn't matter if it's a sleeper or a day cab. Doesn't matter. If a mentor can sit there, but he has to be on duty the whole time, okay? That means you're both using up your DOT time at the same time. And, that's what you want to do, then cool. But again, there has to be a point where that student should be able to drive the truck and drive the truck safely. And if they can drive the truck safely, why does the mentor have to sit next to him? See how stupid that sounds? It's crazy. Don't let yourself get caught up with that, okay? So I hope I rambled on enough about that. I'm going to try to find another question that's a good one that I can answer for you. I had a subscriber ask about May Trucking. I know that I've seen them around quite a bit, and there was a instructor at the I think it was at Salt Lake facility school, who worked for them, and he just raved about them. He absolutely liked them, but I don't know anything about them, and I said May. I'm sorry. I don't know anything about May, but this person was Ruben asked about Pam. I'm sorry, Pam, and Pam has been around for a long time too. But again, I don't know enough about them to pass any information on to you. So if you have currently or have recently worked for May Trucking or Pam, and you have first-hand information, don't comment if you've never worked for them I don't want to hear gossip and rumors. I want to know from the horse's mouth. If you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, especially with Pam, let us know so that we can pass on that information. I get this question a lot too, and I won't say the name of the person who asked the question, and I'm going to end it with this one. This person asked me, does the previous company I worked with, if they do, what type of drug test they do? And to be quite honest with you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because if you have to be concerned about a drug test, period, you don't need to be in trucking. You're done. You don't need to be in it. You're not ready because you're still clowning around or playing or having a good time, if that's what you want to do to have a good time. You're not ready because you're still in that life. Okay. That being said, you know, that's just me talking. That's just my opinion, okay? I'm not, you know, there's no halo over my head, you know. But I've been around that for a long time, so I think I can tell you what I'm talking about. It's got some validity to it, okay? You cannot be around it. You can't, you know, your buddy sitting next to you can't smoke it, and you don't, but you're sitting right next to him. You cannot come in contact with anything like that, okay? If you're not ready to separate yourself from that, then what happens when you go home for a weekend or get some home time? What are you gonna do? So if you are in any way concerned about taking a drug test or failing a drug test or how a company performs a drug test, my advice to you is to get your life right and get that stuff out of your life, then get into trucking. But to answer your question, you're gonna do both of them. You're gonna do a hair follicle and you're gonna do a urine test. And you're gonna, you've heard me say it before over and over and over and over and again. I continue to say it. Before you go to a trucking school, go get a permit first, okay? The reason I want you to do the permit first is one of the things you have to do is do a DOT physical. And if you can't pass a DOT physical you may need a sleep apnea or something like that. You know, I don't know. But if there's something that is preventing you from getting a DOT physical, then why are you going to, passing the DOT physical? Why go spend money going to a school? Because you're never going to get the permit because a license, because you can't get the permit. You can't get the permit because you can't pass a DOT physical. So getting that DOT physical first is key. All right. So that's the reason why I tell you you're going to get it first. And I'm shining up there. I got this. Like, plus I'm sweating. I'm in Texas. I'm actually in Laredo at the yard at the Melton terminal in Laredo. Anyways, if you can pass a DOT physical, then that's a hurdle. And if you already have your permit when you show up to the school, that's a burden off of you. You don't have to be under pressure to pass those permit tests before you can move forward at the school, okay? That being said, once you get hired, you will take another DOT physical for that company. And your DOT physical may be 2 months old and you go change jobs or something. And expect for that other job, your new job, to do another DOT physical, okay? And they're gonna do a drug test. It doesn't matter. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. Talking about drug tests, you can pull into a DOT weigh station and they can say, hey, you need a drug test, and you got to take one right then. So drugs, you know, just not something that you're gonna be able to do and have a commercial driver license, okay? So I hope, you know, this is not going to be a problem for you. I hope that you're already, you know, done with all of that and have moved on and ready to get started with adult life and then do your thing. And again, you know, whatever you do with your body, that's up to you. Whatever foreign entities you want to put inside, you know, shoot, snort, you know, smoke, drink, whatever it is you do, that's on you. I don't, you know, pass judgment on that. Only time I got a problem with is when in those things that you put into your body that intervenes with someone else, which is what happens when you do those things and then get behind the wheel of a vehicle, period, regardless if it's your car or a commercial motor vehicle. For this purpose, we're talking about commercial motor vehicle, and I'm telling you, if you fail a DOT physical, I mean a DOT drug test, that will follow you, and it will prevent you from getting jobs and getting hired on. So you do not, listen to what I'm telling you, you do not want to go take a drug test for a DOT and fail. You don't want that. I'm telling you, make sure that you are 100% ready when you go take that deal. You need to know for a fact that there is absolutely nothing in your system, period. And they do a hair follicle, you better hope that there ain't nothing back there for 6 months. I don't know how long, because I don't do dope. I don't have no idea. That's why I call it dope, because I'm not a dope, so I don't do dope. You understand what I'm saying? But, you know, I think that goes back at least 3 months. But you want to make sure that you are 100% straight, because if you fail a DOT physical, you're going to be in trouble for quite a while. Quite a while. Is there people that'll take you? Sure, but it ain't gonna be where you want to go. Okay, so get yourself straight up before you go take that DOT physical. Other than that, 20 minutes, we're good. So did I rant enough? Did I big daddy and, you know, fuss and do all that shit? Did I do enough for that for you this time? I hope so. Again, I do it because I want you guys to come out here and be successful. Okay. I see you out here, come burn some fuel. Until then, deliver undistracted. Here's your boot. Yeah, boop.